I set it up kind of symmetrically from left to right, port to starboard. And so on one side here I have a kitchen table with seating, but also this table would collapse down and they would turn into bunk beds. So you have 4 people, 2 on this side, 2 on that side, and then 2 in the master for a total of sleeping of 6 people. But when you're not using it and you're on a solo, those bunks would actually pull out and you'd have a lot of space on the inside, and a very large galley area and a very large bathroom. So if you were to live on the boat by yourself or to have it as kind of a weekend hobby, you'd have a lot of space on the inside, and then when you want to bring your friends, you'd obviously add the bunks in, and it wouldn't take up that much space and it would still be usable. I also have tables outside which could be removed, and these poles could be removed. So you could have an open deck, or you could have an area where you could have a picnic or something outside. So that's kind of the direction that I'm moving. Over the last week, I moved the cabin was way far forward, and I slid that back. I've made some changes there to add more deck space for the deck crew and some other changes. But this is the direction I'm kind of heading for your cabin.
Looks like you moved the whole master back.
I did a little bit, and I don't know how much that would affect performance.
Yeah, but it looks like you made the cockpit a lot smaller than it was, and it's still tons of room. How long are those cockpit seats?
I think they may be a little bit short to lay down on them, and I don't think they're wide enough. I would have to double check those.
Well, so with you really remember around what you're sitting on.
Is the ballast intended to be collapsible, or?
Yes, it would retract back into it.
I think that you've got a great concept here, real idea for taking a boat and optimizing it for the solo sailor, and also at the same time you can also turn around and convert it to having multiple occupants on board. So I think it's cool. And I like your layout work. It's great stuff that you've done so far. We just need now to go and put those design elements in place that'll make it all streamlined. Cool. So I think what you need to do now is come up with a really cool, like an interior theme, an exterior theme, and kind of unify everything together. So I think you've got the great arrangement, okay? And now just come up with that theme that ties everything together. You might have to tweak things here and there, but very strong theme, very strong arrangement.
Yeah,
The layout's great.
Yeah, the layout's great. I think it seems to be working pretty well. The only thing I don't see is what are you going to do with all of the space on the deck here?
Okay, so down below in the galley, it's kind of hidden right here, but I wanted to have it too where you can store some longer things. And then underneath the seating here, I wanted deeper seating, or deeper storage underneath those, so you could have some pretty good storage. Because, I'm kind of losing all that space back there, and I know that. I do have a bathroom here, and perhaps I could move that back and just increase the bathroom size, and maybe I could move the galley back a little bit and kind of use that space a little bit more efficiently.
I mean, the common way to cheat is that you bring back, the cabin top with the deck level, something back like that. Instead of having those, splay out quite so much, if you keep a little more, linear, but something like that, you can, have full head height under this area, and then under the, side deck, you still have some pretty decent head space. So I think you have enough room, probably, if it worked with the concept to fit.
That's a large
Yeah.
you have right there. And so that's your real estate
Yeah.
that you're working with.
sometimes, and it starts to become a challenge as you start to, you know, if you want to offer storage space, then it's still trying to pull off that headroom.
But I don't know, maybe it doesn't matter so much for your concept, because it really is the solo ocean racer, and so you don't need a bunch of berths, and it is more about the storage.
Question, and I'm not a sailor, so I can't really, yeah, I want to know too. Are there other sailing rigs that would be better for solo sailing?
There is one class where they go all the way around the globe, but it's a completely different boat type. It's got a pivoting keel and then it's got diver boards on port and starboard. So it's got a lot more features under the waterline. And those are like multi-million-dollar vessels, so this would be more for the person on a budget. So it's not going as far.
But this sail plan, I mean, this is one of the reasons why last week, suggestion please ask that, so that these round boats, right, you can have multiple sails on, right, throwers there. So that's how you could not be required to have a whole lot of sail storage space, which you don't.
Yeah, and
Water is
kind of going that route with like an asymmetrical spinnaker and just a lot of, like basically everything already on furthers. So you wouldn't have a lot of storage down below, right, because you would need.
I like your answer because I think you pegged already what your demographic is going to be for this product. So that's great.
Yeah, so, okay, cool, functionally, yeah, it works. Jeff was saying, now how do we bring in the styling and the aesthetic that speaks to Melges, but then, has something to do with long distance, single lane sailing? Is there some reference in that world that you can bring in? Yeah, what does the interior actually look and feel like? Touch it, you smell it?
I think also it's really good if you want to make it a solo boat. Really, any kind of story that you can bring along with your design just helps the whole thing. If it is a solo boat, though, safety is going to be a most important in this point. So really having a design that Well, I mean, it also makes it a little easier to climb the board, but but yeah, really focusing on that. Like at the boat show, you probably noticed that some boats really pay attention to putting railings in key spots where there might be an open space and like a slippery floor. Just that kind of stuff, like making sure that someone, if you imagine yourself on this boat in the worst conditions ever, that at least as far as the boat can provide, you feel safe.
Yeah. And I need to put some railings on the back, and actually railings all down. They're just a little tedious to model out right now. Some of the bigger things around. But that's the direction I'm going to go.
And without a doubt, bulwarks, really, this kind of stuff where you have a solid wall that's passing knee height, that is a big part of feeling safe on the water. Kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe there are some cues from like those in the 60s, those sorts of offshore simulators that you can really look at, the design and how they set that up, because you're going to spend lots of time there. So yeah, maybe there are cues.
Maybe even developing some kind of cool, more boat-wide lifeline system. So, like most sailboats, when you start considering this kind of thing, that's what you're going to have. You're going to be strapped straight into the boat. Like you have a way where maybe it's easy for this sailor to get down into the nav station and back up while still being connected to this one. That could be a huge thing.
Now, with Melges boats are pretty racy. Racing cars can be pretty simplistic, or foreign fall quite a lot. But style still really sells in that market. The interior of a Lamborghini or Ferrari or something like that is a lot different. It's that little Toyota FRS thing or whatever it's called. know, I mean, you know, they both go around corners real fast with inches of the middle, but that whole level of finish and style that's something that should be, there's an opportunity to have it with that one. And for example, you did something really cool on that big old seal that we're going to rebuild, where there are these panels that have a tremendous amount of relief in this light color that otherwise kind of blended in with the and it's a fiberglass boat, but because it's got this nice grain structure going through it, you come down inside, it's not just a race boat, but somebody thought about this aesthetic. And I think that's really the opportunity there is that there's a great 60 if you look at it, get ideas of what an effective cockpit layout is. And I just really suggest that you look at that stuff. But the real value, I think, is going to come from your design language. You come up with to tie all this stuff together, you know, real wow things that you get
Details.
Well, yeah, and I think your theme too is good in terms of capturing the kind of solo sailor spirit, you know, and I think it taps into something that we see everywhere nowadays, that kind of authentic adventurer, you know, there's all this thing about, you know, mountain climbing or extreme sports. Everybody's interested in this kind of thing, and this is like yet another man versus nature kind of venue here. And there's so much design language you can tap into for that, and it's a very cool project. All right?
Yeah, you're great. You've got, I think we can all agree that, yeah, layout, sort of the understanding of function and all of that is good. So now overlay all of the designery, you know, elements of that man versus nature.
And you know, with it, it was really nice forest. And so, you know, I think there's both. No, but I mean, I think that's an important opportunity to not blow up on this. And that now with this adventure travel that's going on.
There's team size has a really interesting thing about female
It really
sailing
opens
team.
it up to a lot of form language there that you can really tie into.
And so then, yeah, and so then that will start to see, okay, well, what are